Hello, Year 2. Welcome to Week 4 Science. Let's see what you need to go and grab. Okay, so you need Sheet 8 and Sheet 9. And for your learning pathway that you've already got in your scrapbook, you'll need your word card wall. If you've lost that, don't worry about it. You can just write the words in. You'll need the soil experiment sheet, which should be already glued into your scrapbook as well. And you'll need glue, scissors, eraser and pencil. So also, before you go and grab those things, if you want to, you don't have to do this, but you can if you'd like to follow along. You'll need to go and grab these from your garden. So 2 soil samples. So you can see here I've gone and done this. So I've gone and grabbed some soil from my veggie garden, and then I've gone and found some coarse looking sand, which is from the garden down the back of our complex. And to do that, I wore gloves. So you'll need to pop some gloves on and get 2 different soil types. So you'll need a bag or a container to put them in, because we're going to look at them later in the lesson. Okay, so pause the video, go and grab all those things that you need. So just quickly flick back to that, make sure you've got everything there. Okay, and then come back. Okay, so let's start. So we're going to use our whole body listening. So eyes looking, ears listening, and trying to keep our body still. So today we are learning that soil is one of the Earth's resources and it needs to be conserved. What did conserve mean? Yep, so to protect something, to save it. So by the end of this lesson, you're going to be able to describe the appearance of 2 different soil types, and you're going to be able to suggest ways that you could conserve soil. So let's recap what resources we know about already. So what are the resources we find on Earth? The first one, starting with the W sound, shout it out, it's water, well done. The next one, it starts with an A, which was air, well done. And the one that we're looking at today starts with a S, is soil. Okay, and then what do we find under the ground? We've got 2 that start with M. What are they? Metals and minerals. Well done. And then we've got the one that starts with O, makes up oil. What's that one? Oils. Great. And the last one starting with P is the one that we put in our car to make it go. Petrol. Awesome. Well done, everyone. Okay, so we are going to be focusing on soil today. So we know a little bit about soil already because of our experiment, and of course you'd know stuff because you would have learnt things at home about soil. Let's check in on our experiment. So this was day 11. So at this point we just had the rich soil growing something, but there was a bit of excitement happening on day 13. Can you see here? What is that? The low nutrient soil had a little bit of a green seedling popping through. I was very excited to see that. And then on day 16, I went down to the garden to measure, and look at this. So the rich soil is how many paper clips tall? Can you see? 4. Awesome, well done. And this one, how many paper clips can you see there? Just the 1. So this one's starting to grow, which is super exciting. So if you're doing your own experiment at home, then you can write in your observations for your 3 plants, so go and have a look at those. But if you're following along with me, so we're up to week 4, I've just put in some notes here and I've stuck a photo in of what it looked like. You can draw that. But I've just written the rich soil seedling is 4 paper clips tall. The low nutrient soil in the pink pot has a seedling, which is 1 paper clip tall. And the other soil has nothing growing in it yet. Okay, so pause the video, write that in, and then we'll look at some soil. Okay, so our focus question. So let's sort of activate what we already know about soil. So what is soil? Tell me what soil is. Maybe you know another word for it. Okay, let's have a look. So dirt, earth. Soil is the top layer of the earth where plants grow and animals live. Okay, next question. What is soil used for? Who uses it? Have a little think. Okay, did you say something similar? I've got animals live in it. We grow food in it. And we make things like bricks and pots out of it. Okay, next question. Which use is the most important, do you think? Making bricks, growing food. I think using soil to grow plants is the most important. So the next question is, why do you think that's the most important? Why do you think that would be the most important. Here's a clue, because we need food to eat, don't we? All right, one more question. So, thinking about all of those factors, why does soil need to be conserved? Why do we need to conserve it? Have a look at this picture. Do you think that we need to conserve this soil somehow? And why? So without soil, we're going to have some problems. Some animals won't have a home. And without arable, good soil, we won't be able to grow as much food. Animals that eat grass, things like cattle, they won't have any food, and then we won't be able to eat any beef. So there's a few problems if we don't conserve soil. Alright, so now let's move on to our learning pathway. So we've got 3 words at the moment to add in. So we've got the word soil, which we've just talked about. Sample. Now a sample, it's like if you get a sample of something, it means you get a small amount of it, or a little part of it. So we're going to get some samples of what today? Soil, excellent. And then examine. So if you're going to examine something, you're going to look closely at it. So here's my little pictures that I've drawn. You don't have to do the same. You can do something similar or totally different, just as long as you understand what your definition is there. So I've drawn a cactus growing out of soil with a little arrow pointing to it. Here I've done a little, like a jar with a small sample in it. And then here I've got someone with a monocle and some eyes looking closely for examine. So pause the video and go ahead and do that, then come back. Okay, so that's just a recap of what our learning pathway now looks like. So we've added lots of words, which is fantastic. We're learning lots of great scientific words. Okay, now I went and found 4 different soils in my local area. So let's have a look at those. So I've got them all here, but it's probably better just to view them up on the screen. But this one here is soil from my veggie garden, and it's got worm tea in it. So I have worms. They live on my deck, and I feed them my compost, and they make a delicious tea. And so then I've also picked up this one, which is the clay soil. So we're going to compare these. So just looking at them, how are they different? Are they different colours? Do they feel different? If I feel this one, yeah, okay, so it's quite sort of thick and it doesn't really move around easily. This one, sort of sliding everywhere, feels quite smooth though. Okay, so this one here, so this is the top soil from the shared garden out the back. So this one, what's it got in it? Have a look here. What are these things? Yeah, the leaves, aren't they? So it looks a bit different to the other ones. It feels a bit crunchy. And then the last one here is sand. So you all know what sand feels like. So it feels gritty. Quite dry as well. Okay, so now what you're going to do, if you've gone to your garden and grabbed 2 different soil types, then you can write about those on this sheet. So on sheet 8, if you are just following along with me, then I've chosen the soil from my garden with the worm tea and the topsoil with the leaf litter in it. So you're going to draw what you see in the soil here. And then we're going to put, where's it from? So this one's from the vegetable garden, this one's from the shared garden. And then you're going to go ahead and fill in the other questions on your own. So what colour is it? So looking at this picture, what colour is that? And what colour is this one? Then it says, what is in the soil? Can you see anything in the soil? Can you see anything in this soil? So this one, I can't actually see anything other than just looks like dirt to me. There's a couple of flecks, looks almost barkish. This one I could definitely see leaves in. And the last one, what does it feel like? So this one feels a little bit wet. And this one feels, I think the word for that would be crunchy. So go ahead and fill that out. You can use your soils or use the ones that I've got up there. Okay, and then so pause the video and then come back. Alright, so we're just going to touch in on our connection to country. So let's have a look here. So for thousands of years, Aboriginal people have looked after the land. And those who still live a traditional way take only as much as they need from the land. So they're not being greedy and taking everything. They're only taking what they need. So many cultures build special places like churches and monuments. Aboriginal people do not build places like that. Instead, they value the natural beauty of their country, like Uluru here. So many Aboriginal people see themselves as belonging to the land. They do not own it. So the land to them is not just soil or rocks or minerals, it is family. And many Aboriginal peoples care for the land as they would care for their own family. Okay, so how do Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people feel about the land? Do you remember? How did they feel about it? Did they feel like they owned it? No, so they see themselves as belonging to the land, not as the owners of the land. How do Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples conserve Earth's resources? What did they do? What do they do? So shout out the answer if you know. Okay, so remember they only take what they need. They're not being greedy, just taking small amounts that they need. And why do Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people conserve Earth's resources? Why do we conserve resources? Do you remember why? Just in case in the future. So they understand that conserving resources helps ensure that the resources are available in the future for themselves or maybe for their children or their grandchildren. Okay, so let's learn a little bit more about soil. So what is soil? So you would have heard these words before: soil, dirt, earth. So people call it soil, dirt, or earth, and it's the top layer of the earth in which plants grow. So what is soil? What is it made out of? There's a few different pictures there, isn't there? Having a look at those. So there's different types of soil. So we've got gritty sand, sticky clay, or soft, smooth silt and loam. What do we use it for? Many animals and organisms live in soil. Don't they look delicious? Also very tasty. Are these animals that you'd normally eat? Maybe not. Okay, so lots of things need soil to live in. What do we use it for? We don't live in it like this, do we? So some animals live in burrows or homes built in soil, and some animals search for food in soil. Siri thinks I'm talking to her. Okay, what is soil used for? Oh, still more pictures. Okay, so what's happening in these pictures? Yep, so we've got some plants growing, some delicious looking veggies and fruits. So we eat some of the plants and plant parts that are grown in the soil. Ooh, okay, what are we using the soil for here? So grass and trees grow in soil, and they help to keep soil healthy and prevent erosion. So erosion's like when it starts to disappear, and we'll look at that a little bit later. Okay, so here we go. So there's some sort of erosion there. You can see that the roots are exposed of that tree. Okay, can you think of any other uses for soil? We touched on it right back at the start of the lesson. Can you make stuff out of soil? So soil can be used to make mud bricks to build houses, building and other structures. What else? You can make pottery items out of clay soil. So, thinking about everything that we've touched on today, why do we need to conserve soil? Is it an important resource? Yep. Why? So, what are some ways to conserve soil? How could you conserve it? Have a look at this picture. How are they conserving the soil here? What are they doing? There's a couple of things. There's some stuff that's put on it. What's that stuff on the top there? And what's in the soil? So, some ways we can conserve soil are to plant things in it. So it stops the soil blowing away or washing away. And we can put mulch on top of the soil, so you know at school all of the gardens are continually being recovered with mulch. That helps keep the moisture in, so you don't need to water it as often as well. And yeah, we wouldn't build houses on soil. That's good for growing food plants. Okay, which way do you think is the best to conserve soil? What's the best way, do you think? be putting mulch on or planting things. What do you reckon? So planting trees and bushes to stop soil from blowing away in the wind. How could you conserve soil at home? A little picture clue here. How could you conserve soil at home? What's something you could go and do right now if you wanted to? That's right. You could plant things in it, or you could go and water the garden to keep the soil nice and healthy. Okay, so we are going to put in a new word. So this word we're putting in is arable. So arable means that it's the soil that's good for growing crops or vegetables in it. It's a really nice, good wow word, that one, arable. So pause the video, cut out arable, and draw something in there. So I've drawn some little corn ears popping up out of the soil there. Okay, and the last bit today, we are going to fill in sheet 9. So this is just covering everything that you've learnt already today. So there are a few questions here. So the first one is, how do we use soil? So list some ways. So I've done a couple little examples here. We plant crops in it. You want to make mud pies? That might be something that you do. You could list what else. We could make bricks out of it. We could make pots out of it, and there were some other things that we covered in the lesson, so write some ideas down there. You're going to number them from the most important to the least important, like we've been doing. So I think planting veggies and crops would be the most important. So have a think, write those in. And then the next question, why does soil need to be conserved? So why do we need to conserve soil? Do you remember the reasons? So you're going to put, we need to conserve soil because, and then give me an explanation. Okay, then we're going to list some ways that you can conserve soil at home. So we just talked about that. So you might want to grow grasses and trees on soil. And then you're going to tick which one of your 4 suggestions is the best one. And then the last question, why is it best? So why is growing grasses and trees the best option? Or whatever it was that you said, explain it to me and justify your reasoning. Okay, so that is everything for Science Week 4. I hope that I see you again soon, Year 2. Goodbye.